Hey, Florida, you're awful. We hate you. You're disgusting and you're filth. We're going to talk about why all of those things are still true. It's Florida Hate Week, and why the Florida fans in the comments, I love you and I'm sincerely glad you are here. And if talking about statistics that showcase something that you don't like seeing is hard, then maybe stop watching football. We're going to talk about maybe an injury coming back, or a player coming back from injury is a huge addition to Georgia and what that means against the Gators at the cocktail party this weekend. Next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. More on them in a moment. But again, like I said, thanks for making us your first listen. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We are for fans by fans. If Daniel was here, he'd be telling you the same thing. And Florida fan that are all up in the comments, we're going to address you here in a moment because you're just begging for football season to be over and basketball season to start. And it's okay. We get it. We understand. We're going to talk about why I never said it's guaranteed to win. I never said that once in my life, but why you guys are so insecure in saying that I did. We're going to talk about that. And again, sincerely, thank you. If you're a Georgia fan, we love you here more. And stay tuned for the 199. If you're not part of the 199, loyal third segment listeners, we're glad that you guys are here. Download on audio wherever you get us and listen on YouTube. Subscribe, cross-train, do all that fun stuff. Hit over the Subtext. We're giving you information. I'm going to give you a nugget tonight that we already gave our Subtext readers a little bit ago. But here's where I want to start. We're going to talk about Carson Beck against this defense of Florida, how he stacks up and what he must do, what he has to do to go ahead and get a victory for us on Saturday. We're going to talk about a potential tackle coming back from injury and what it means for the whole season, as well as the offensive line this week, and what it means for Brock Bowers. Yes, that name we get to talk about. We need to talk about his replacement, Delp. And then lastly, we're going to talk about a player that I think will actually step up. I know Oscar Delp is going to be that dude in the tight end position, but I'm talking about another guy who is going to show out for us in catching balls and what that looks like. So let's get to it. Carson Beck, ladies and gentlemen, Carson Beck is legit fantastic. Somebody else in the comments of YouTube pointed out that first year starting quarterbacks at Georgia fare horribly against Florida at the cocktail party, which is true. There, I see no lie. Okay. However, Carson Beck ain't your run-of-the-mill first-year starter for Georgia. He is producing metrics and balls and catchable rate and yards and ratings that are on pace with some of the best in the SEC, some of the best in the nation, top 10 quarterback in the nation, top 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the metric that you're using in the SEC. Carson Beck is him. Now, I ran across this tweet the other day, and it was very, very interesting. Some other person tried to go ahead and get some stats out there, some metrics to try to understand how defenses play Georgia and how Carson Beck fares against defenses. And what was really curious to me, I forget the exact stat, but essentially what happened was Carson Beck goes against cover 2, cover 3. And what it does is he produces exceptional rates. Yards per play, yards per attempt go way, way, way up when Carson is facing man coverage, when he's facing cover 2 or cover 3, something like playing quarters. All of a sudden, his yards per attempt go down, and completion percentage goes down, and this and that. And here's what's unique to me about that. People will say, well, how's Carson going to get better? How is he going to improve if defenses know this? Well, really quick, quarters defense goes ahead and takes away. You got 4 quarters, think of cutting the field into quarters, and then putting a guy back end of every single one of those quarters. That means you're playing up on the ball. You're letting him, as Georgia fans hate to admit, dink and dunk and screen game. And we all cry, no, not Bobo doing the screen game. When you're playing quarters defense, something that you want to do is go ahead and take the passes that are there, take the receivers that are open. And if the defense is going to go ahead and play deep on all of it, which many teams have done against Carson Beck this year. Vanderbilt made a very concentrated effort, and Carson Beck shredded them. Yes, go back and look at the stats, and yes, go look back in film. He shredded them. Other teams have done the same thing. And it's because you're taking away the go routes. Think of all verts, right? Take away that in quarters coverage. You got somebody on the top end of every single one of those plays. Post patterns, you can pass off to two safeties as well as corners. Everything is in front. Linebackers are giving up the flat. You're giving up hook. You're giving up these sorts of things. Linebacker plays a 3 underneath, 4 deep coverage. Of course, yards per attempt are going to go down. Now, will Florida do this? I don't know. I have no idea. It seems like a game plan that has been effective, quote unquote, against Georgia. But what you do to that is you let Carson Beck slice and dice you. Like I've said, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to give him time? Why would you not want to pressure him? I think Billy Napier is going to want to pressure Carson Beck and bring guys against him. I think it's going to be somewhat successful. We're going to talk about the offensive line here, second segment, but I think it's going to be okay. Carson Beck's going to be just fine. If you bring pressure, he's going to be fine. Mike Bobo knows Florida, knows Billy Napier, knows the defensive game plan, knows what they're going to try to do. Florida doesn't have an exceptional defense. They have an okay defense. I was actually shocked to find out that looking at the games, they've fared okay, pretty average, pretty run of the mill, but okay, maybe a little better against the pass run. They have not, and we're getting, hopefully, Kendall Milton has another week to recover, so he gets more than a half of football. That'd be fantastic. But Edwards is back there. Paul is getting healthier. I think if Kendall Milton, Andrew Paul, Edwards are back up to what they were, this Florida defense has no shot against us. I think if you're already giving up that, and again, second segment, look to find out who an injured player we get back, and our offensive line playing very cohesively and very together, you add that on top of Carson Beck has been carrying this team so far without a very depleted, how about I just say that, with a depleted run game and an offensive line that is shuffling around. Carson Beck has been just fine, top 3, like I said, depending on the metric that you use, against defenses that want to take away the big play ability that Mike Bobo wants to add up, wants to dial up. If Arian Smith doesn't drop a couple passes, this metrics go ahead and get a little different. But if you're telling me Kendall Milton gets a week to be healthy, which he has, Andrew Paul gets another week to get healthy, Edwards is him, those 3 plus offensive line plus Carson Beck against a team that wants to, I think, pressure us, I think this offense is going to be just fine. I think 40 is well within reach. Now we're going to talk about the defensive side and what it means for us against Florida's offense. And that's going to be a little unique, truth be told. Again, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about observationally what Florida wants to do and what Georgia wants to do. But first, we want to talk about a few people we really care about right after these. And that's Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for a first round deposit match up to $100. Here's what you do. You go over to prizepicks.com. It's daily fantasy made very, very simple. It's very, very easy. Here's what you do. You get a player, you get to say, hey, they're going to have more or less than the touchdowns that Prize Pick puts out. If you were to take touchdowns for Carson Beck too, do you think he gets more or less? Prize Pick says, just pick one. Pick a side of it. You're not going up against Sharks and you're not going up against Vegas. You're going up against a number. Here's the number. Is it more or less than what you think? That's it. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. And right now, first deposit up to $100, they will match. That's free money. Promo code LockedOnCollege. It's PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. $100 price match. Daily fantasy made easy. They are great. They are reliable. Daniel and I love playing over there. It's very, very simple. Very, very easy. It's you against a number. That's it. Don't mess around. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it more than it is. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege for a deposit match up to $100 right now. All right. I hinted at this. We got some word, got some news, got some understanding. Don't know if it's completely valid yet because A, it's Kirby. It's Kirby. B, it's Georgia. C, they're college kids. Who knows if we're going to get any indication or any news or any insight to injury front. But this just in. Word is that Mims is looking like he could be back this week. It would be a stretch. It would be a haul. If you're looking at how a timeline of a tightrope surgery does go out and does play out, it could very well be that this is within that realm. 4 weeks, 24 days, 25, 26, 27, 28 days, somewhere in there. A bye week, a lot of rest, a lot of ability. Mims would be a great addition back, and word on the street is look out. He is practicing. He is taking some reps. He is taking something that is more than sitting on the sideline in the athletic training room. Mims comes back. Look, y'all, we talked about this. We talked about how there has been a number of guys. Micah Morris, Tate Ratledge is playing better. Truss went over right tackle and looks great. Ernest Green has played exceptional at left tackle. And I say exceptional. Look at his pressures allowed. This offensive line is starting to gel. SVP, Secretary Van Prant, is him. He is the best interior lineman at Georgia, hands down, in the SEC. Yes, I said it because he is. He's incredible. He's the captain of the offensive line. He's very, very good. We get now Mims back. Plug him in, get him on a rotation, even if he's on a snap count, even if he's coming in at a swing spot. That's fine. That's great. He's going to come back fresh. He's going to come back feeling good. The ankle needs to hold up great. And if it does, this offensive line is a different beast because, again, we've elevated the game. Now, Florida fan, since you're here and you're commenting, and you hated me talking about metrics, which, by the way, really quick, all metrics does is it tells you a story of what has been. It's not predictive. It doesn't give any guarantees because I don't know if you understand this. This just in, you still have to play the game. I'm not an idiot. I know that. I understand that. You understand that. What I was saying was not, well, let's not play it because Florida might as well lose. No, I didn't say that. I said, what our eyeballs have been showing us is Florida has not been good. Here's some numbers to back that up to tell more of the story. Here's some color to your picture. Georgia has been good. Here's some color to the picture. And here's how good they have been. Because as Georgia fan, it's like talking about Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo, all he does is screen and then draw on third and long. I haven't heard that narrative for 3-4 weeks. Why? Because the numbers back up facts. So this is not predictive. Now, could Mike Bobo come out and do a third down draw play? He very well could. And if he does, it's for good reason. It's for good cause. It's for something that is fantastic, and we are okay with it. But Florida fan, please calm down. Georgia fan, understand that it just tells a story. Okay, with that out of the way, here's what's really unique about this offensive line. This offensive line has been playing admirable all the way through with a reshuffled offensive line with a bunch of new guys coming in there, and with Mims not being 100% and not even being in the starting lineup, and all of a sudden you're telling me we get him back. Guys, this run game is about to trounce. If this is the case, if he is in there, this run game against Florida is about to get going because it's harder when you're coming back from an ankle injury. You think coming back from an ankle injury, you don't want to put a lot of stress. You don't want to put a lot of pressure. You want to take it easy. You maybe want to get in some pass pro, but I'm here to tell you right now, you get set up in a pass pro. You put strain on that Achilles. You put strain on that. You have to plant that foot and push him back as a guy comes into you. That's a lot harder and a lot more stressful than it is to plant and push off and go. When you are going, when you get that foot, you get that stance going and that chop, 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 and you're able to push, you're able to drive. It actually, if you're healthy, if you're coming back, actually not that bad. Where you're at risk of injury is if you plant the wrong way in a back pedal. You plant the wrong way, taking a step back, kicking back, and doing something nasty with it, it gets bad in a hurry. Mims, I think, coming back is great for the run game. I think Tate Ratledge is going to be fine. SVP is going to be fine. Micah Morris at the swing position. This offensive line all of a sudden is back to what we had predicted before the season began. Daniel and I said this offensive line is going to be a strength, going to be a point of emphasis, going to be the best cohesive unit. Now, that hasn't been the case. Injury as well as very, 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 very suspect play at times. We've been very hard on Tate Ratledge. We've been very hard on Xavier Truss, admittedly. Now, if you're telling me that I can get all of a sudden Ernest Green left tackle, I get Mims right tackle, you put a Xavier Truss at left guard or right guard. You put him in a swing spot. You put Tate Ratledge in that swing. You put Micah Morris in that. Now, look, I don't know for certain, but that is, I think, best case scenario for this offensive line for Edwards and Milton. Xavier Truss shines when he is interior. He is a big, big man. And you get him slanted forward and pushing off on the ball on the inside. Y'all, things change. So, am I excited for this news? Yes. Do I know it's 100%? No. If it's not, do I anticipate Xavier Truss to play right tackle and do an admirable job? Yes, I do. Why? Because he has been. Ever since he made that switch, he's been just fine. Do I anticipate the offensive line to have more cohesion coming out of the bye? I do. And this is what's really unique. And we've seen this before from Georgia. We've seen Kirby Smart after a bye week. Kirby Smart's teams typically come out and they are crisp, they are sharp, they are focused, they have attention to detail. They're coming out healthy without a ton of injury. I save Brock Bowers. I understand. Don't yell at me at the comments. I know he's still out. But man, I can't be more excited for this game all of a sudden. We're going to talk about odds and how the point spread and what Vegas thinks about this game later on in the week when Daniel gets back. But man, all of a sudden, I cannot be more thrilled. Even the hope and the perspective of Mims coming back, because we're already getting better. He's going to continue to accentuate. And it's not, don't believe the narrative that it's going to mess up the mojo of the offensive line. The offensive line has been shuffling and shuffling and shuffling all year long. And we're getting better now and we're cohesive now, but it's not because the same guys have been playing. Guys have just elevated their game. See, Cyril's has been doing a good job coaching. We're going to come back after this for the 199, the loyal third segment listeners. And we're going to talk about a guy that I heard more from, and I'm more excited, as well as Oscar Delp, and what it means for Brock Bowers, that if Mims can come back, what it looks like for his. But first, these. And these are, in fact, LinkedIn, linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Here's what this means. Whether you need somebody for your team or you're looking for a new team yourself, don't play the game of having to go here and there and answer weird questions and ask weird questions. Don't do it. Why don't you just get the right candidate for your team, the right job right now? That's LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. And here's why you need to do it. Millions and millions and millions network wide. People know people. It's the best way to get jobs. All I know in my life is when I know people, they get me the best jobs that I need and they need for me. And it's a marriage that is made in heaven when the people know you and you could trust them. Well, that's what LinkedIn Jobs has. LinkedIn Jobs has people that know people. It's a network of folk. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Get over there right now. Get the right team, the right candidate for your position. Post your job for free. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege. All right, let's talk about Oscar Delp. Let's talk about a guy that I think is going to show up because of how I've heard him talking and what I've seen from him in the bye week. And then lastly, what this means for Brock Bowers. By the way, just really quick. Hey, welcome 199. If you're here, I'll so you can see it. I'll make it more white in the background so you can see the 199. Welcome to 199. You are loyal third segment listeners. Keep on shouting out on YouTube, Twitter. Get over the subtext. Let us know you're there. We love interacting with the 199. The 199 are our favorite people. Yes, we have favorites. I know mom and dad said that you were the favorite and they lied because your sister was. I get it. I understand. But you're really our favorite. We do this show for you guys. If not for you guys, we would have, come on. We do it for you. Okay. So the 199, we love you guys. Shout out to you and hit your boys back over on the comment section. All right. Here's the tasty little nugget. Oscar Delp is going to be just fine. He's a physical guy. And if you're telling me, if you're going to go to a dude and say, hey, here's the deal. In the offense before, we had a dude. He is the dude. He's the best player in college football. His name's Brock Bowers. I need you to block. I need you to do little things. I need you to block on screens. But if now all of a sudden you go to him and you say, hey, Oscar Delp, I need you to do one thing. Ball. Go ball out. When you take away thinking from a lot of players, it's kind of like playing linebacker. When you have dudes that are athletic at linebacker and you don't overcomplicate the system and you just say, read, react, see ball, hit ball, get ball. All of a sudden, the cream rises to the surface and dudes that are faster, bigger, stronger than everybody else do that. Oscar Delp is faster, bigger, and stronger than 90% of the guys out there. He's a monster. He is big. He is quick. He is athletic. And if you're telling him, hey, go ball, son, I think it's going to be fine. Second point of this loyal third segment listeners, I want to say this. You want to do a dude who is going to be great down the stretch and who I think in this game is going to have a bust out moment. Rosemy Jack Saint. Look, the more that I hear about this kid, the more that I see him, the more that he is in the limelight, the more that he rises. He's been in the program for a while. He makes the blocks on the outside. He makes the contested catches, but all of a sudden he's got a little bit of swag. He's got a little George Pickens-esque swagger to him recently. And if you go back and look at his comments, go back and look when he was at the bowling tournament with the game of the charity event, when he's out talking to folk, when he's asked questions, the dude is professional. He's a dog. He's got a competitive spirit in him. He wants to get after Florida. And he doesn't want to do talking with his gums, flapping his gums about. He wants to do talking with his hands, with his legs, with his pads, and get it going. That's exactly why I think Rosemy Jack Saint is going to be a dude that has a coming out party this game and continuing on, because he's just a dude. And you add the swagger to it. You add that connection with Carson Beck. You add the just go up and get me the ball 50-50. We talked about Rah-Rah before in this offense. I think Rah-Rah and Rosemy Jack Saint have a coming out party. I think this is I said 40 is what I'm guessing we put up on Florida. I'm not backing off of that. Maybe 35. If you're going to actually press me and make me make a bet, I would take 35 as my number, over under Georgia total 35. And I would take it. That would be the line that I would have for this game. I don't know what Vegas has. I don't know what FanDuel has right now, but I think we see a couple touchdowns in the wide receiver category, one for Rah-Rah, one for Rosemy Jack Saint. And then last, I'm going to finish up with this. If you look at the math and you look how Amarius Mims has come back from injury after nearly identical all the way through. I know each injury is not identical and each ankle sprain is not identical. But if Mims comes back this week, then you are looking at Brock Bowers being able to play regular season games again for Georgia. Now, really quick, we've already talked about it this week. Morons that want to speculate that players shouldn't play football that play football. You should be a non-football playing football player. Please, again, get serious with yourself. You are unserious. Brock Bowers wants to play. Why? Because it's fun. That's why. And because even if he sat out, even if he sits out the rest of the year, even if he comes back and he re-injures the ankle, do you know what he has? He has an entire offseason. He don't need to go to no combine. Just put your name on there, get measured at the correct time. Dude is going to be picked in the top 10. And no, he is not just a tight end. And no, Falcons fans, which, by the way, T's and P's to you if you're a Falcon fan. I don't know what you're doing with your life. Just give it up. Move on. It's not Kyle Pitts. He's better than Kyle Pitts right now. Brock Bowers is better than half the tight ends in the league right now. Don't believe me? Go ask GMs. Go ask NFL players. Go ask. We said the same thing about Jalen Carter. And look at, he's the 5th best graded pass rusher in the entire league. Not just rookies, not just interior, the entire league. Okay. He's better than half the defensive tackles in the entire league. Brock Bowers is better than half the tight ends in the entire league. He's going to come back. If that's the case, if we can follow the same trajectory that Mims did, we got regular season games that Brock Bowers is going to be playing in again, which is thrilling for us. Just abjectly thrilling to think about. All right, the rest of this week, here's the roadmap. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about the betting because the line started off crazy over 20. It's down to 13.5. It's fluctuating quite a bit. The Brock Bowers news, as well as a couple other things, are making Vegas think about this line a little bit differently. Daniel and I are going to come back. We're going to give you our takes for the game. Over under point total is going to be there. Team total for Florida. It's going to be interesting. Maybe touchdowns for Carson Beck, which if you gave me 2 right now, I would hammer the over. I would take your money gladly. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about preview, get more into excited, nervous, don't sleep on, which, by the way, if you think that this Georgia fan is all out here thinking that it's not a stressful week, it's a stressful week. I got my bucket with me. And if you don't know what a bucket is, go get a bucket. A bucket is for things that come out of your mouthful area because you're so nervous. Okay. You need a bucket. Hopefully we got bottles all day long, but you're going to need a bucket. This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We will see you guys all this week where we talk about hating Florida more and more and more. We'll see you guys then.